Welcome to the State of Our Union, the podcast where real love meets real life. I am your host, Karen Williams, author, speaker, and wife of over 30 years. This is the space for honest conversations around marriage, commitment, conflict, healing, and learning how to choose each other daily. And it's even during the times when life gets heavy, because love isn't just about the vows we take. It's about the work we're willing to do together. Each week, we'll have conversations that inspire, challenge, and remind you that even through loss, disappointment, and change, your relationship can grow stronger. So wherever you're listening from, whether you're driving, cooking, working out, or lying in bed wondering if you're alone in this, just know you're not alone. So take a breath, lean in, and let's talk about the real state of our union. Hi, welcome once again to another episode of the State of Our Union and the Fight to Keep It. I am Karen Williams, and joining me today, my goodness, I'm so excited, is Daniel and Kim Curtis. They are both from the Bay Area. Bay Area, right? Yes.
Yep.
I was in San Francisco, and I know people like the Bay Area is so big. I'm like, look, whatever, man. I am not Californian. I call anything north of LA is the Bay Area in my world. In my world. But it's so good to see you guys. Just tell us a little bit about you both so that our audience know who they're listening to.
Well, thank you for having us. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I
Sure.
love to listen to him introduce us. So he's a better storyteller than I am. And it's a good way to fact check, right? So
Okay, Daniel, it's on you.
Well, Kimmy, our names are Daniel and Kim Curtis. We've been married. This will be our 20th year. So our anniversary is this year. We're very excited to have that. We met right before COVID. Kim has been in social work.
Right before COVID. We met in 2005.
Those years ago. Oh, right before.
Like, which COVID was 20 years ago?
This is why I said this is the way to fact check. Go on.
I was thinking we met right before the big crash.
Yes, the big crash. That's true.
Yeah.
What makes this a little unique is that we met on Craigslist, right? And so that was before it was being investigated by all the federal agencies.
Yep.
But, I just went on there. I put a pair of tickets to a baseball game, and 9,000 guys answered, and one lady.
Wait, this is what I like to clarify. We did not meet in the men seeking women section.
No.
We met in the rant and rave section of Craigslist.
This is good. This is going to be a fun time already. I love it.
We're a blended family. We have 4 girls, 2 from my previous marriages and then 2 from her previous relationships. And so we've lived as a blended family, but all of the children consider me part of their family. And we've taught ourselves that in relationships, we always put ourselves first, and we never allow the children to ever get between us, whether we agreed with the other spouse or not. But we have 2 grandchildren now, 2 beautiful boys. We've never experienced boys, and so it's a completely different life cycle for us.
So fun.
I'm sure. I'm a boy mom, so having granddaughters, now that's what I was like, oh boy, okay.
That's a lot, right? I'm in the space of there's no drama. It's so fun, and you get drama.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Your guys' story sounds so fun. I'm like, Craigslist. Okay, this is going to be a good story. But that's actually a good one.
That was
Awesome.
before all the social media, so the only way we would chat would be through
Prodigy. We had to sign in to play a game and then do one of the chat rooms. So we would play cards, right?
Yeah,
or something
cards or
like that, and then we
dominoes.
would chit chat in the chat room.
Wow. So Danielle, were you living in the Bay Area or?
Lived in San Leandro, and she was in San Leandro, just on the other side of town.
Okay.
But I worked 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. at a women's shelter. So I was entertaining myself with the rant and raves on Craigslist, because they were like Facebook rant and raves, but they were like novels people would write. And they were much more entertaining than the Facebook page. So that would keep me awake at night. And then he posted on there one day, and I responded.
Oh, that is so neat. That is so neat. Oh my gosh. And listen, people, they have the dating apps and all that. That took dating apps to a whole nother level. I love it. Oh my gosh. I love it. But as we mentioned, I said, our forum here is very conversational. So we're going to just dive right in, make the best use of our time. Again, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so excited to have you guys. As you mentioned, you guys been married. This will be your 20th year.
Yes.
Wow, that's a long time. And the whole premise of this podcast is to help that one couple who may be married 3 to 5 years and really struggling at that after honeymoon stage. And so my goal is to bring couples in to the studio to at least say, hey, we've been married at least 10 years and we want to be able to help you figure out this little rough patch right here. How do we get beyond that? And so I had you guys share a little bit about a challenging season and you triumph over it. Can you share a little bit about that?
It's important to say, like, there's not just one
Right.
in 20 years. You can do anything,
Absolutely. Yes, that's so true. So true.
right?
So
We're
true.
always changing, we're always growing. So to keep it interesting, you're going to
Mhm.
have more challenges as you go along. But Daniel
Absolutely.
was actually, I asked him when we were applying for the podcast. So I go ahead.
It does help when you have a short memory. I'm like, what was the one moment?
He's a goldfish. We Ted Lasso our marriage.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because you guys did mention that there were changing events that you had to choose from. However, you said the one that really shaped you, I think you guys were married. Well, this is your second marriage, and how it, of course, how it impacted how you treated each other. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
We
go into
we
that a little bit.
definitely we brought our our marriage experiences into the marriage at the
Right.
very, or even into the dating space of it, and had to let a lot of stuff go there. But you're a way better storyteller than I am.
When couples learn how to be pliable in their
Mm-hmm.
relationships because they stand firm and I'm like, I'm not going to budge on this. And that budge becomes a thorn for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I always tell people we're so blessed. We haven't had a fight in 15 years, but I should stop saying that because we've learned to be communicative towards each other. We've learned to
Yes.
respect each other. And whether we're right or wrong, that we work through that. And so going back to the original question of when people first meet in the first 3 to 5 years, they're starting to develop the layers of character and personalities. And we were challenged right off the bat, hardcore, deep in the trenches, to where we either had to survive it or walk away. And
Yeah.
I never wanted to walk away because one, I wanted to walk through that portion of our life together
Mm-hmm.
to if we weren't going to survive, you were not going to say you didn't survive because I walked away. It's going to be if we
Right.
didn't survive, it was going to be because it just didn't work. Our personalities were on the extreme opposite of each other. We did not like each other in the beginning. What's
Like, no, our first date we didn't like each other.
it
No.
lasted a couple of days, all the way up to the baseball game.
Okay. Okay. Fair
But
enough.
and it's always in the belief of a higher power. Believe in Buddha or God, knowing that you are not at the top of the pyramid, meaning that
Yes.
you have to rely on something more. Whether it's Mother Nature or whatever it may be, you have to believe there's something bigger and better out there. Not so much better, but bigger and more
Mm-hmm.
powerful and has a sway in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a gut feeling or whether it's you feel like you're just being told or called to something, those are the things that you're supposed to listen to.
Right.
And we do it, and I tell this all the time, we work so hard in our job, right? We do everything to be perfect. And then
Yes.
when it comes to ourselves, we only work halfway. We look in the mirror, we see the failures and the accomplishments that mean very little, and we just push ourselves down to where we can't do it alone. So in
Mm-hmm.
our first 3 years, it was an always changing relationship. We went from one spectrum to the other, and it helped us learn to embrace those personalities, those character changes to make them to who we are today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we both came into the marriages as divorcees, and I don't think that we felt respected in our previous marriages. We didn't have big voices.
Right.
We were on the receiving end, right? We had
Mm.
our glow up when we left
Right,
those
right,
marriages,
right,
right?
right.
But I think we swang to the other side of the pendulum because we were so suppressed in those relationships and so fragile coming out that we really came in strong.
Yeah,
And that caused a lot of friction between the other person. We weren't really trying to hear them. We were really making sure that we held our voices. And then
yeah,
we had if that was either going to end us or we had to change it and
yeah.
find a way to meet
Is
in the
that
middle.
your professional
That's
opinion?
my professional opinion.
Well, because I've never heard that, so I'm going to write that down.
Daniel said, I am taking notes.
That's right. That's the first time I ever heard about. We've talked about it before about how our
Yeah.
opposite relationships kept us down. And when you saw the personality change in me, going from being married to you as a strong, vibrant, not so much dominating, but supportive male to my ex-wife to get ready.
I saw him one day. We had to take his daughter, or one of the younger daughters, over to the ex-wife's house, and she was pissed about something. And I watched him submit, and I was like, "Whoa, who's this guy?" Because that guy never shows up in
Wow.
our marriage. I said, "That's not hot, though." So I need like just a little bit in the middle of what
Yes.
I get and what she's getting, and let's find a nice middle ground.
Those
Then,
12 years of fighting, so I learned to not fight by what I thought was
yes.
submission was actually just keeping my mouth shut.
Yeah, and you did the
Yeah.
same. You didn't like how my ex would come at me, and then I would say, I don't wanna engage in a fight about it with him, and he wanted me to be more assertive and aggressive and push
Mm-hmm.
back on the way I was being treated, so I think that showed up in our marriage of us trying to figure and grow up,
Mm-hmm.
as who we wanted to be for the next 50 years of this marriage.
We're never in
Yeah.
good
And
condition.
it's so important to, as you guys are talking, I'm thinking about every one of us, all of our relationship experiences, I call them Louis Vuitton, but we drag all of our baggages into every relationship that we have or that we develop. Marriage is no different, because however we think marriage should be, whatever those ideas are, we drag them into that new relationship as well. And yes, we know it's not fair to the new spouse or to your new person, but that's all we know. And it's up to us now to make the decision to say, hey, what is it that we want for our relationship? What is our relationship going to look like? And I know Rob and I were of course we were a blended family as well. And so when we got married 33 years ago, it was he brought two kids, I brought one, and then we had Jordan together. And it was like all these different personalities and the moms and but I have to I'm always I'm so blessed because we are so blessed, but we never had any conflicts with the moms, with our exes, none. There we had our failed relationships. We never it never got involved. It was always about what the children wanted. So that aspect was great. Again, the unfortunate thing was, yes, I was also in a relationship where, I was, put down and all of my insecurities was on my sleeve, they were like right there. And so that was what pushed our relationship or challenged our relationship in the first couple of years. And it was like, oh my God, I don't know how to communicate. My best way of communicating was, okay, I'm shutting down for about 3 days. I'll call you back. I'll talk to you later. I have nothing.
That, that
Wait,
one
are you
minute,
saying
let's
Kim
solve
is
this
my
problem.
twin? Kim, we went to the same communication school.
Hey, I only wish it was 3 days.
I didn't have anything to say.
thing to say. And that was my way of shutting everything down. I don't have the emotional bandwidth to even communicate what I'm feeling right now because it's going to come out wrong. It's going to come out wrong. Just leave me alone. But no, we definitely had to get some help because my husband is the type where, okay, he's not, he doesn't necessarily push, but he wants answers and he wants to fix whatever the issue is. We need to come to some type of solution, some type of conclusion, or resolve, whatever that looks like. And he doesn't stop. And I'm like, dude, we can't do this. I can't talk to you right now. I feel like I'm being interrogated, and I'm just going through my whole thing. And at some point, he was like, no, because what ended up happening for us was we kept having the same argument over and over and over and no resolve until we had to figure out, okay, well, not me mostly, then we, because he already knew how to communicate. I mean, well, effectively, that is, effectively. But, the main thing is, I want couples to know, if nothing else, that this is just a season, because marriage comes in seasons. All right. So when we think about major challenges, I thought about money, communication, intimacy, expectations. Which of those areas, if any, that really stretched you guys to a point where, whew, you're like, this could be it, but you got past that? If it's none of these areas, tell us what that was for you.
Ooh, I think it was maybe the expectations, but being able see, I'm like, it's kind of like like it hits all of those, right? The
Mm-hmm.
expectations, but it was the expectation about money, the
Mm-hmm.
expectation about how we would communicate, about intimacy, all of that. But it came down to not maybe being able to communicate those expectations to the other person of what our needs were
Mm-hmm.
and trying to meet the needs of the other person when you weren't able to say, I feel uncomfortable or not right now.
Yeah.
Now, how do you tell a mom of two to rein in her spending when she doesn't like that conversation, right? So, so I think that it was like, but we didn't maybe recognize that we had expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
And it does help when we really truly know who the other partner is. So when you talk about like being a mother to who spends,
I didn't say that.
because I added two spends to it.
Okay, well, one or two
We,
spends.
Let's one spend.
that when you know the deeper root of it, meaning that you're either going to be the one that budgets every single penny to the
Yeah.
one that's a free spender. We
Yeah.
both know we're free spenders, right? And so neither of us do the budgeting. I just have automatic payments, and if they go through, they go through. So, uh, in the sense of that, neither one of us can sit down and become the other person that we're not. So the
Yeah.
expectation of it is that we know I come from trauma in my family, and then I
Yeah.
carry that with me. It's whether I embrace it and keep it in the forefront of my life to make it a part of my life, or do I make it run my life, right? And
Yeah.
it changes day to day.
Yeah.
But it's knowing that expectation of the other person, which allows us to work through those situational moments where, and I do this in my work. I'm like, everybody is at 80%.
Mm-hmm.
Expecting them to be above 80% is just only setting them up for failure.
Yeah.
So when you want 90% of them and they can't do it, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
So it's like, do the 80%. I will pick up the other 20,
Mm-hmm.
and you do the same for me. Now, the number for Kim is much higher. It's around 95, so I don't have to do much at all. Now, the number
Oh.
for me is much, much lower. But I do feel that when you recognize what the potential of that other person can do, whether it's your finances, whether it's about communication,
Yeah.
and just be open and fair to it, because, when you can look in the mirror and recognize your own mistakes, she already knows what those are.
Yeah.
I already know what those are, and it helps us work through that. Doesn't always mean it's going to be a generous lesson of a moment that we have a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
but it does kind of have the knee rooted foundation of how you move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me in those conversations, I would always bring my past self into the room. And when he was trying to say his needs, I would make it very personal about me and interpret it as him saying, I'm failing, I'm not doing enough. And then I would get defensive instead of just hearing, it's not about me, it's about these are his needs. And then how can I
Yes.
show up for him in that space? That I had to really work on not becoming so defensive and bringing that yuck into the space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Having that is so good because a lot of times as couples when we hear something that triggers part of that pain or that trauma for us, we automatically internalize that. And that happened to me a lot in that first 5 years of our marriage. Growing up and hearing a lot of no, children should be seen and not heard kind of thing, all of those things. So the moment I hear something that is trying to silence me or quiet my voice, I take it as a personal attack. Now, mind you, again, he's just sharing how he feels and what his needs are and what his expectations are. And that's so good because we often struggle with listening to our partners objectively without taking what they're saying personally. Hear what they're saying, hear their need, hear the question that's being asked, and of course, even as I coach other couples, that struggle is still a real thing. It's still a real thing for them.
We don't know how to separate our own issues with their issues. We mix them together because as soon as I hear you don't say I love you enough, that never happens, but I try to
Mhm.
pick up on it. It's so
Yeah.
funny to say it now.
It's like, I don't see it enough. I see it like 45 times a day.
I know. But when you hear someone else talk about themselves and what they're going through is I am, I feel,
Yeah.
you automatically, just like you said, you become defensive. And so it's there's no real habit forming technique that is out there that works because we don't want to teach ourselves those
Mhm.
that will help us through that, to be
Yeah.
listeners and to be respectful to that space and then not to walk off and then go try to understand it and merge it with our own issues and
Mhm.
figure out how we fix it. I've been a fixer for 20 years. You know what I do when I want to fix something Kim talks about? I walk away.
What?
She's still talking in the kitchen, but I'm like, I can fix this right
Oh,
now.
Right now, right now. And sometimes, I know sometimes, especially women, guys, I'm not really picking on you right now, but we sometimes we just want to talk. We just want to talk it through. We just want to get it out of our head. Sometimes on paper, that helps if you have a spouse that doesn't listen well. But the goal is sometimes we just want to get it out of our brain. And that's it.
Brain dump.
Yeah.
yeah.
Brain dump, exactly. Not necessarily a fixing moment, just get it out. So what would you say, what are some of the top struggles that you see couples married under 10 years? I know you guys got to know other couples. What are some of the common things that you see happening in that first 10 years of marriage? What's common for you guys in your circles?
We've known couples that have been married 20 years with these issues, and I don't know how they're still surviving. I'm like, I would have left you. But we can see like that dominating personality, or it's you cut them off in the middle of a sentence and you
Mm.
correct them. That's
Ooh.
the biggest
Mhm.
one.
Mm,
Like, no, that's not how it happened. And then you do it in a way that is so aggressively
mm,
unrespectful for the other person. If
yeah.
you're in, and they may think it's just fun and that's what you got used to, but that's something that should never happen.
Doesn't that give you the ick? Doesn't that give you the ick when that happens? It's like, ooh.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm walking away now.
Yeah. It makes us very uncomfortable when we'll go out to dinner and we watch somebody put down
Mhm.
or tease too much and too long to where you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is really shaming and embarrassing
Yes.
for your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like that. And I think we have to be really cautious, especially in younger marriages, of only telling our friendship circle the negative stuff about our partner. If that's all they hear.
Yes. Go, listen, expand on that. Let's hang out here for a second.
Okay.
So true.
Yeah, I think that when I was younger, I would have said that maybe females are this is their problem, but I've seen it happen in men's circles a lot too, where they're putting down their partners, not with yours, but the separate
For some
parties where the
reason.
guys go outside and the women stay in the other room.
Mhm.
And then they just spend that time kind of, I think sometimes it's embellishing the bad things so that they feel like they're connecting and
Yeah.
bonding. But if all you're sharing is the negative things about your partner and never the positive side, when it comes down to a really tough day, you don't have the person going, yeah, but what about this? What about that?
Yeah.
Or they're telling you, you should leave that person. He's not good. Every time we get together, you have a laundry list of things that he's not
Yeah.
doing right, which is probably maybe 10% of the marriage, and 90%. We never call somebody and be like, you know what he did? He did all these amazing things for this time. We're only sharing the negative.
I don't think we've ever tried to ever be like couple relationship helpers. We've always known like, hey, Bob and Jane are having a tough time. You can clearly see that.
Yeah.
And so we try to be emotionally supportive to them. We don't be like, oh, tell me how your day was, but it's more of we do it by show.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we've broken up as many couples as we've helped. Not married ones. Well,
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say, yeah.
because we've shown what we think true, genuine love and respect for each other as a couple
Yes.
through our relationship bonding, through our friends and our circles, and we've outlasted almost all of them.
Yeah.
But if people would be like, we've actually had, like, my sister's a perfect example. She was dating a guy and she saw us in our beginning and she told the guy, like, I want that,
Yeah.
and then they broke up. And so it helped her to at least step into the right direction, knowing what to do. We can say we're very unique in how we treat each other, how we love each other, how we show up, but it should be a standard and not be, oh, we know one couple that acts like that. It should
Exactly.
be every couple acts like that.
Exactly.
But you do that through very specific tasks, very specific ways of building your relationship. But we've never been the couple that helps the man and the woman of another couple. We just show it by how we are. And if they want to be a
Exactly.
part of our relationship, then we let them in. If they don't, then we say thank you and we part ways.
Yeah. 'Cause it's so important that, because I believe it is anyway, important for especially younger couples to have couples who they can emulate. They can see the example of exactly what they want. Because a lot of times we don't know how to articulate exactly what we're looking for in a healthy relationship or a healthy marriage. Because let's face it, most people plan for the day, they plan for the event, but they never really plan for the marriage. And so they get married and now we're living day to day and we really don't know how to do that. And so as you're talking, it sounds like you're making the point that most of us learn better when we can actually see the example that we're looking for, that model. I didn't grow up, neither did my husband grow up with that example of saying, okay, I can see when my parents were married, their relationship was the example that I emulate. No, neither one of us had that. So we had to figure out what our marriage relationship was going to look like. And we actually figured that out by watching other healthy couples. And we saw the ones that we said, nope, we don't want that one. Yep, I think we want to model that one, and we stayed away from those that will, make their couple or their partner, not couple, but their partner sound less than or, embarrassing or because, I said, listen, I don't want to hear anything that's going to cause me to see this person differently. That's not my person. I don't want to see him in that light. Don't share that. Now, when you're talking about, hey, I love my person. I just need some help getting through this season. That's a different conversation than the attempt to shame your partner into changing, because that doesn't work. That
That's
doesn't work.
so good.
Yeah, that doesn't work at all. And so I would encourage, That note, encourage couples, especially if you are in that 10-year or less phase and you're going through that really hard season. Find that couple that you can emulate. Find that couple that you can model your relationship after. I'm not saying every relationship, you have to follow every single thing they're doing. But when we're talking about respect and values and couples goals and vision and mission for your relationship, you got to be able to see that in someone else to be able to emulate that.
Absolutely. I had just like a slideshow of couples that we have
Mhm.
done that with throughout our marriage and having small groups through the church experience and kind of picking and choosing. And it is true to have you have the role models of who you want to take the positives from, but it is kind of nice to have those ones every once in a while that you can drive home and be like, "Did you see that? I don't want that in my marriage." And
Yes.
and take from that and
Yes.
have that dialogue together.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And it does help, especially for men, is that they have to be able to self-recognize if they can do that, right? If they can
Mhm.
show value, they can show respect. If they grew up or they've been taught another way, then it's going to be difficult for them. So they have to be able to really self-analyze themselves
Mhm.
and say, did my parents emulate that? Did I learn know how to respect a woman and her her person? Can I do it to her? Did I do that to my mom or something like that? And so I was blessed. Like my parents, they divorced after 20 years. But my dad showed no value for my mom and
Mm.
disrespected her and on and on and on. But I go back and I can still remember because I grew up in a small town, so I always saw my grandparents.
Mhm.
She had apple pie sitting out on the table, just out the window for the wind to blow, that type of thing. Grandpa worked hard at the railroad, and they had family values. You showed
Yeah.
up, and everybody was playing an instrument, or everybody just came and hang out. And I remember that all of my years,
Yeah.
and it continues to teach me that I've always wanted to be like my grandparents. Now, of course, I'm sure they fought and they had their struggles.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never saw it. And by me not seeing it, I always taught myself to recognize the best in people.
Mhm. Yeah. And I know those memories gotta have brought a certain level of safety, that you wanna recreate in your own home, your own marriage. And that's the goal. We're not saying you have to bake the apple pie and put it on the window as well. But whatever that represented for you, you can reproduce that in your home. And that's the message I'm hoping that our audience is taking away. So, gosh, we can probably stay and talk all day, but I am not going to keep you for the whole day. So, we're going to wrap with this last question. If you could sit across from a couple in their first 5 to 10 years of marriage, what would you tell them to focus on first to kind of grow from that point onward?
So I've thought about it. Look them straight in the eye. Don't show fear. Walk fast.
So fear.
No, you have to.
Listen, I think my team is gonna keep all of that.
Oh my gosh.
And I,
That's
when you offer advice to a single person, like what would I tell a man who's truly? It's when you can go in the reverse. Like just yesterday, Kim noticed or just something off, right? And I wasn't ready to share it. And I've already shared this before. I'm like, why am I keep doing this? She's like, are you all right? Right?
Mhm.
The simple question. Are you doing okay? So it's knowing that even though you're going through your own stuff, and some of it you may never fix. So that's the highlight of it, that you're going to carry this the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But it's knowing when your partner can recognize that and take a moment of pause and say, I'm here for you.
Yes.
Are you all right? Then it gives us ability to kind of relax our shield and our boundaries and our wall, bring them down a bit, and just be like, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And then we don't have to discuss how to fix it because those are life problems. They're always going to be there. It's just whether it's a small one or a big one. But we're always going to work through this together. And that's the nice thing about our relationship is that one, she brought it to the table, and I don't know her perspective, but my perspective is she taught me how to always be open minded to knowing her position in her life to be able to, is this something I can help her with? Or is this something I'm going to listen to? Or is this something that she just needs a hug?
Yeah.
Knowing that belief that we know physical contact is what bonds people. And so having that hug for 20, 30 seconds, making that cup of coffee, learning your gifts, right? So being more than just a husband or a wife, but knowing what you're supposed to bring to the table in a relationship that will build it. Like, what do we call those? What do you call the gifts? That's what we have to. I do my gift.
Your love language?
Love language.
Love languages, yeah.
Like, those are things that help you become better. And they're just simple steps of reading something like all this time. A little bit of enlightenment can change everything for a person.
Yes.
So don't always just rely on your knowledge, your experience, and yourself. It may never be enough. And so if it's never going to be enough, rely on what hundreds and hundreds of therapy years and people researching to bring it in to make it simple for you. And if you can save a marriage just by knowing what a love language is, and it costs you $7.95 or it's free on the internet, why not do it?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would also say to younger marriages, and maybe it's not true for everybody, but it was definitely true for me and how I responded to things. And it's probably, I might have a speech of narcissism, and I recognize it, right? Like every mood he had, every reaction, I would be like, oh, it has obviously something to do with me. And 90% of the time, it had nothing
Nothing,
to
yes.
do with me at all. But he would be in a bad mood. So now I must be in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And then he didn't have to be in a bad mood anymore. But now I absorb that for him, and I'm storming around the house because he's not talking to me and making something and creating a whole scene, right, that is had nothing to do with me. He just had a bad day. Maybe he stepped his freaking toe. And then I'm like, the whole world's falling apart. He's not responding to me as he should be. He's not bringing me in so that I can fix it for him, you know? And so it would make something, then he had to fix me instead of even worrying about his own stuff. Like how much effort it must have been to navigate managing me. And I would say find the sense of humor because,
Yeah.
right, and that has saved our marriage on multiple occasions.
Yes, humor is required. It's a requirement. You gotta be able to laugh at yourself. Because if you're in your marriage and you're taking each other and yourself super seriously, oh my God, at some point somebody's gonna break in half. I mean, you're just gonna break.
We go to public functions and I'll go and I'll tell an off joke that nobody laughs at. But I can hear her in the corner belly laughing. And then I tell the whole group, I'm like, there's my wife. Back to laughing at my joke. And that's all, that's where the value is. All I care is about that one person.
Exactly.
Accepting me exactly the way I am.
Exactly. Exactly. My gosh. So what would you guys say would be that one thing that you wish somebody had told you guys about marriage? Because even though this is your second marriage, but from the beginning, what would that one thing be, that you wish somebody had told you guys?
I think that we often, as women, maybe not, I'm not, like we forget our role as women as a partner, and we become roles to everybody else, and then the spouse
that again. Oh my gosh.
Right, you gotta date. You gotta,
Yes.
sometimes, and maybe he don't like this, but there's like hot sex, and then there's that maintenance sex that you don't really feel like you're super into because there's so much stuff going on. But I'm gonna just show up and do the maintenance stuff so that he can find that woman in me again. So then now the next time I'm like, hey baby, how you doing?
What's wrong?
So some maintenance sex is sometimes important.
It's maintenance sex now.
It doesn't sound hot, and it's not gonna be, but in order to have the hot sex, you gotta have the maintenance sex sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
You're right. That is the one thing we did take away is we always try to bring our relationship back to life.
Yes.
Whether we're like, oh, we need sun in the fun. We're going to drop every single problem we have and we're just going to fly it somewhere.
Yes.
Or it's just like, let's just go out. And it doesn't happen a lot. But when we know we need it, we take it. We don't make it work. Because
Yeah.
one of the things I've always learned in my life is that it will always still be there tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my
Whatever
God.
is going
Yes.
on in your life will always be there tomorrow.
Yes. Absolutely.
Now, she
Absolutely.
does a lot more than me, but I'm so happy. Time for grandkids. I'm like, I have to go to work.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the grandparent season is whoa, because for us anyway, our grandparents they were old. And I was like, we're looking at each other like we're not old. So what is happening there? How are we grandparents?
Right? I keep looking at the books that I'm reading, and she's got like a walker, like curly, and I'm like, oh, that's like your great great grandma.
Like, we don't look like that.
No.
But oh my gosh, Kim and Danielle, it is so awesome to have you guys with us. Listen, thank you for lasting through our technical difficulties. But again, thank you so much, guys, for showing up, for speaking into the lives of our younger people. For everyone listening, watching, thank you so much for joining us on another episode of the State of Our Union and the Fight to Keep It.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending this time with me on the State of Our Union. My hope is that today's conversation gave you something to reflect on, something to talk about, and maybe even something to try in your own relationship. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone you love or someone who needs to hear it. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss a conversation. Remember, strong relationships aren't built on perfection. They're built on intention, honesty, and the daily decision to choose each other. Until next time, guard your heart, nurture your love, and keep investing in the state of your union.